Saturday, it's a huge showdown in Big D as Russell Wilson and the Seahawks take on Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC wildcard game. It all starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, Saturday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Welcome back. I'm Greg Jennings and Mark Schlereth in for Whitlock and Wiley. TJ Hushmanzada, Sean Merriman are back. Let's move to Chicago, where the Eagles will have their underdog masks back on this week against the Bears. It looks like Philly might have caught lightning in a bottle again with Nick Foles, but the Super Bowl MVP is about to run into Khalil Mack in one of the toughest defenses in the National Football League. Mark, will the Bears defense put an end to the Foles magic?
Yeah, you know what? I really do think they will. You look back to some of the great defenses here in the last few years, the 2013 Seahawks defense, the 2015 Broncos defense. To me, this is one of those defenses that can carry a team through a playoff game. And I think one of the interesting things, I believe they're listed as a 3-4 defense, but they play a 5-man front. They play like a 5-2 defense with Khalil Mack, Hicks, and Leonard Floyd. They legitimately get 5 one-on-ones across the board. And they are absolutely beastly when it comes to putting pressure on the quarterback and controlling the line of scrimmage. And, I think they have a really good secondary. I think Eddie Jackson's a really good young player. But the bottom line is this. They lock you up 5 one-on-ones and they beat you. And they consistently beat you. And that's to me the advantage that they play with on a consistent basis. We talk about the difference that Khalil Mack has made, and he's made a huge difference because he lets everybody else on that line of scrimmage, and Sean knows this, when you get a one-on-one matchup in this league at home with crowd noise, the defense that you have, man, especially with the offensive lines in the National Football League right now, it's really impossible, and they do that to everybody.
Yeah, they had some success against Khalil Mack in the past when he was with the Raiders. They was using some slide protection and find a way to isolate him, but when he was playing with the Raiders, he didn't have an interior D lineman like we're talking about right now. He didn't have Hakeem Hicks. He didn't have Leonard. He didn't have these guys. You can't do that anymore. They isolate him by sliding, protecting, leaving running backs in, chipping them off the edge, bringing guys tight end down in motion and chipping them before they went out for their passing routes. You can do that when you don't have help up front. This can get ugly because now they got guys that's going to have one-on-one across the board. You're not blocking Khalil Mack one-on-one. You're not blocking him in the game of this magnitude one-on-one. That's not going to happen. So this game, they go out and get up a touchdown or two early on, and now he's free to get after the quarterback any way he wants.
See, what's going to happen is this. You can't let Khalil Mack, who's Chicago Bears' best defensive player, you can't let him beat you and impact the game that much. You still have to slide to him. You still have to chip him. If the other guys beat you, that's fine. You just can't let Khalil Mack get off with him being their best player. Me personally, I like the Eagles in the game just for the simple fact of when I look at the strengths of the Chicago Bears and the weaknesses of the Eagles, I think it meshes well for the Eagles to come out on top. That's an opinion of mine. Now, Doug Peterson, they're similar offenses, both come under Andy Reid. They've coached together many years. The Eagles have better offensive weapons. Chicago Bears have a better defense. What the Chicago Bears do well is run the ball. The Eagles are stout up front. You got Fletcher Cox and Haloti Ngata in the middle. In Chicago, it's going to be cold. They're going to run the ball. This game here, it's going to be very, very interesting, but there's no way Doug Peterson and that offensive staff, they let Khalil Mack get off. There's no way.
Yeah, I just think that the defense of the Chicago Bears will be too much. And when you look at it, you're talking about 4 Pro Bowl defensive players on all levels. The interior lineman, the defensive lineman, the linebacking core, and the secondary. And what the Eagles try to do best, or what they have proven to do best with their number 1 receiver, Zach Ertz, Chicago takes that away. That's what they do. That's their strength. They take away your tight end. With Eddie Jackson, barring his health, and we're assuming that he will be playing on this week's game, I think that the defense of what the Chicago Bears pose to the offense of the Philadelphia Eagles, it's too much. And when I look at Nick Foles, I just have to be honest. Can he endure? Can he sustain standing in the pocket, taking hit after hit? Because it's not a matter of will they hit him. How many times will they hit him, and will he be able to bounce back? I just don't see Nick Foles being able to stand in that cold, and it's a different cold than what they experienced in Philly in Lincoln Field. This is Chicago Bears. This is Soldier Field. This is off that Lake Michigan. This is that win. This is where they thrive. I like the Bears in this matchup.
Yeah, this is one of those to me where you scrap pile about 3/4 of your playbook and say, hey, we're going to run 3-step drops, 5 steps without a hitch, and we're going to try to run the ball. If you can get that done, I don't know that you can, but Russell Wilson, that week 2, I'll throw that away. 6 sacks.
Seahawks are struggling early.
Early, they were trying to do something that wasn't their kind of genre of football. They've changed. But Jared Goff a few weeks ago, week 14, 0 for 4, 0 TDs, 4 interceptions, 45 completion percentage. Aaron Rodgers, week 15, 0 TDs, 1 interception, 68.9 passer rating. I mean, they are ridiculous.
But then we could go counter that and say, wow, Brock Osweiler beat him. You see, so there's always 2 coins to an argument. Brock Osweiler beat him this year.
He did, and so to that point, I called that game down in Miami.
They were behind and they made some ridiculous big plays.
They made
Eli Manning beat him.
Peyton Manning is there. Brock Osweiler was his first start this year under Adam Gase, a guy who drafted him. I mean, he had so much going for him in that game, and it was
a letdown game.
It was a letdown game. It really was, and I just don't see the Chicago Bears letting up on the Philadelphia Eagles to where they come out on top.
Yep.
Will be interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting, no question. All right, let's move on to Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson and the Ravens will host the Chargers in a wild card matchup Sunday. Lamar will be the youngest quarterback ever to start a playoff game, which might not bode well for him in Baltimore. Since 2010, rookie QBs are 0-5 against veterans in the postseason. So I put it to you, Greg, do you think Lamar can buck this trend?
I do. I like Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens against. Oh, God. Against your boys.
Look, I knew it was coming. I wasn't trying to be a homer, but I'm going to let you do your thing.
I like them against the Chargers because they have an identity, and their identity fits. It literally couldn't fit any better for Lamar Jackson in what they try to do. They want to run the ball. They want to eliminate your time of possession, your amount of possessions, and they want to allow their defense to rest because we're going to weigh on you more than anything. This defense of the Baltimore Ravens is what has gotten them into this position, and what Lamar Jackson has provided as a spark addition to their running game that was already effective. He's just added that much more. And when we look at the 5 outcomes of these young rookie quarterbacks, 1 out of 5 of these games were played at home. And that was Dak Prescott. To your point, you mentioned it a couple years ago against Aaron Rodgers and that throw he made on the sideline to Jared Cook, which beat the Cowboys and allowed Mason Crosby to kick that field goal. When you look at that, he's playing at home. A lot of these young quarterbacks didn't have the luxury of playing at home. They had to go on the road. They didn't have the luxury of really having an offense that just was tailor fit for them. So I like Lamar Jackson in this matchup against your guy.
You know what? I don't, by the way.
There's a shocker.
My thing is I do give Lamar Jackson this. I went to the game and I seen him up close and personal for the first time. I was there to see how fast he was. I knew he was fast, but I didn't know how fast this guy was. He had a play where he rolled out, to the right and ran over to the sideline and kept running over the bench in the back and never even broke stride. I said, man, this guy's a different level of speed. This is a problem. He's still a rookie. I don't care what anyone says. You can still make him one-dimensional. You can still confuse him. And coming into this game, you know that he can possibly beat you with his legs. The first thing I would do for play 1, just spy him. You can't leave a D lineman in his spine. You got to leave a linebacker or drop somebody else down there that's going to be able to have enough speed to catch him and spy him. And 2, make him beat you with his arm. He has a big arm, but he's not accurate. Yeah, he had a couple big throws in the Chargers game that he threw the ball in the end zone 40 or 50 yards or 60 yards down the field, but it was nowhere near the wide receiver. So he can throw the ball, he's just not accurate. When you're playing against a rookie wide receiver coming into the game, we just talked about the Patriots making you throw with your left hand. You know what to take away from him. As long as you can keep him in the pocket, keep those outside linebackers and defensive ends rushing in their rushing lanes and don't let him scramble and get outside the pocket, make him throw the ball down the field. You can get up on this guy early, and once you get up on him, he's not able to come back. He's not at that level. He will in the next year or 2 get at that level, but right now he's not at that level.
I would agree with you in this, is that if they get behind, they're in trouble. He's not gonna. Yeah. But here's the interesting part: having called their game, one of their games, and really dissected this offense, I've never seen anything like it. Like now, I've been involved in the NFL for 30 years, 12 as a player, 18 as an analyst. I blocked for a 2,000-yard rusher. I have never seen the size of holes that they create on the offensive side of the ball ever. I mean, like, oh my God, I'm watching film, I'm like, that's the biggest hole I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh wait, no, that's the biggest hole I've ever seen. Wait a minute, that's the biggest hole. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And running the football oftentimes is it's a 10-on-11 game, right? 10, you hand it off and it's 10-on-11. And then you had the Wildcat stuff, it's 11-on-11. Man, they will pull tight ends, they'll ghost motion people, they'll fake a block on the end, they'll release to the second level, the third level. They really, if you split it in half and you start doing number counts, they don't block anybody on the backside because they're so dynamic athletically, right? And they get extra guys on the front side. So if you split it in half, it's like 7-on-5 football. It is like they're gaining 2 extra men because they're optioning somebody. It is your eye discipline and your ability as a defender is challenged on every single play. And then you couple that with the fact that they are one of the best defenses, one of the most tied together defense. And they have Sizzle on one, C.J. Mosley. They've got, Weddle in the back end, 3 corners that can flat play. I mean, this is a really good football team.
I'm torn on this game. It's hard to beat a really good team twice in such a short span. And you go back to that game, Keenan Allen got hurt early. He didn't play. They had a chance to win. Antonio Gates fumbled late. Lamar Jackson makes a great throw to Mark Andrews. Oh man, like if I had to pick, I would say Baltimore just because they're playing at home. But I really, really like the Chargers. They're dynamic on offense. Greg Roman has gotten overlooked with what he's done in Baltimore. Morningweg is an OC, but Greg Roman came from San Francisco when they had Colin Kaepernick when Jim Harbaugh was there.
Yes.
And they've integrated some of the same little system offensively. And Greg Roman has done a great job, and a lot of people give the credit to Marty Morningweg, but I think they're going hand in hand. But this game for me is the game of the week. It's a game that is hard for me to pick, but I would pick Baltimore just because it's at home and it's really loud playing when you get to playing in Baltimore.
Because of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it's what you can't even spawn with a linebacker.
Yeah.
They're
No,
not fast enough.
They're not
You
fast
have to bring in a corner or a safety that can really run because he's going to outrun the linebacker. Yeah, it's because of Lamar Jackson and then I just can't get it out of my head where if that game when they played out here, that defensive line of Baltimore, they were in Phillip Rivers' face the entire game.
If they wasn't sacking them, they were hitting them.
Right.
The entire game.
It's funny you mentioned spying. It's like interceptions, when I was playing. If somebody had to run 40 yards, you're scoring. Like either we're scoring or you're scoring if you're relying on me to chase somebody down. So it's like putting an offensive lineman out there and go spy that guy. I don't care who you put out there. When he takes off, if you're flat-footed, you have zero chance. Zero chance of stopping Lamar.
He's gone. That man is fast. Coming up, Andrew Luck and Deshaun Watson face off in this week's wild card round. We'll tell you who we've got more confidence in. That's coming up next.